Chapter 66. Dan studied Malik across the aisle of the Learjet. Rick was seated ahead of Malik. Sam, Carl, and Johnny were seated behind. Head tilted back, mouth hanging open, Adam's apple sharply extruding, the Indian slept. He didn't appear to be disturbed whatsoever about the implications of Project X. Perhaps he really was just a scientist, his project saving lives which would otherwise be destroyed by insidious cancer cells. Perhaps the silent call on his satellite phone had no illicit design behind it. But then how did Calvin's discovery of a truth-extracting experiment relate to all this? How could that possibly promote cancer research? And why did two of Malik's contacts have links to case 052? There was a slight chance these variables had nothing to do with one another, but there were too many potential connections to be merely coincidence. How could anyone sleep so well, so deeply as Malik, unless he were telling the truth, though? Perhaps Dan's intuition of Malik's lack of conscience was accurate. This lack would allow the Indian to do horrible things without guilt disrupting his sleep. Dan felt no guilt, but he couldn't sleep. He hadn't slept for a day and a half now. He believed he was a good man. He had a wonderful wife and a large number of successful cases in his career to help maintain this belief over the years. It wasn't so easy to accept as a boy. He had been angry at his father for putting him down and yelling at him daily. Nothing he did ever made his father happy. At age 9, he carved a little boat the size of his hand out of a piece of driftwood, which took him 4 days. He gave it to Dad for his 35th birthday. When Dad opened the present, he just huffed and threw it aside. This rejection was a pinnacle of uncaring actions that made Dan feel like a bad child. But now he was over that. Gabriella's love had helped him forgive the wretched man. Love had a way of healing. He would always be indebted to his wife for the happiness she brought him. What kept him awake tonight? His mind drifted to all the aspects of the case, trying to discern anything he might have overlooked. Rick also slept, but not so quietly. He choked on a snore every 30 seconds or so. Dan felt like bopping the man on the head. Then Dan wouldn't be alone in his painstaking analysis of the case. The jet hit turbulence and Rick awoke. The man looked at Dan accusingly, like Dan had been responsible for the disruption. Rick's spiked hair was crushed on one side from the pillow. Dan smiled. He couldn't help it. Rick looked funny. Malik remained dead asleep, as did the 3 agents behind him. "Oh," Rick complained, "I was having this great dream. You know, palm trees, the tropics, girls, the sun." He wished Rick could find someone who cared deeply for him, to keep him emotionally warm in the coldness of the world. One-night stands with strangers were not the things that made men whole. Dan suggested, "Help me think about the case." "What? You think about it." "Come on, buddy. You worry too much. It's solved. And if the lying bastard didn't tell the truth, the moth will solve it. He punched his pillow to get it to fit his head just right and settle back into it. Perhaps Rick was right. Dan closed his eyes, but found no sleep.